Hello. And as always, I forget to pull up Butch to make sure that things are working. I'm super prepared, I promise. Things are up. It should be up. Twitch isn't working for me. Love it. Okay. That's not good. There we go. Okay, cool. Now it's up. Hello, hello, hello. And my internet connection seems to be unstable, so if you happen to miss me doing things, just let me know and I'll go back and re-explain things. Then again, I don't actually know what I'm doing, so maybe I shouldn't explain things. Hello, hello, hello. Let me go pull the check-in link for everybody while I finish making sure we all get set up. Cool. So we have been riding the struggle bus the last 2 sessions. I can tell you that we're going to be riding the struggle bus some more. Part of that is because this week is struggle bus week for me, being that I have homework due and I'm tired. But we're doing, I think, better than could be expected, at least in my opinion. And then I'm just finishing setting up some of my windows. So that way I can make sure I'm not doing silly things. I forget that y'all can't see my screen just yet, and I'll share it shortly. But for now, tell me about how your Global Hack Week day was. Some of you may have seen me this morning at Wikipedia Races, where we did some really hard Wikipedia racing. Leave it to me to make things exceptionally difficult somehow. We messed up a lot of things somehow. I'm honestly kind of impressed because it was not Wikipedia races was not that hard when I was playing with Dimmer. Yet. And yet. Oh my gosh. I'm also finishing some CSS stuff because I made poor decisions. Slash, I don't know what I'm doing. It's great. It's fine. Everything's fine. Go delete that because that did not work as I hoped it would. Unfortunate. Alrighty. But yeah, no comments on how Global Hack Week has been. I already know that for today / the last 2 days it's been struggle bus. Oops. Some unforeseen difficulties. Go ahead and also pull up my screen. So what I was working on in the hour before the stream was cleaning up the CSS a lot because we went down a rabbit hole yesterday between debugging and then trying to understand why things weren't working, which totally happened, unfortunately. Yeah, now we're at a point where I'm like, we should actually do some API stuff. We did a little bit and started off super strong, and then things did not end up that strong. So I'm also fighting with Flexbox, apparently. All right, fine. Make that a class. So I'm still waiting for people to come in. But for those who did not join the last 2 days, we went to OSearch and we went and we pulled some data about sharks. It turns out that data also includes sea lions and turtles and all that kind of fun stuff. Oh, derp. That's what I did wrong. Maybe I can just put this down here. Right. So we image card that. See. better, actually. So my CSSing is in dire need of help. But I was working on setting up the cards from our design, which let me go pull the Figma, which I promise you is much better. My design skills are significantly better than my CSS, but I wanted something plain and simple. I was trying to get these 2 pages set up. Obviously, that is not going as planned because CSS. But what we're going to do today is actually work on auth stuff. So, for those who have been part of the last 2 streams, you know that I've been talking about the travel dashboard that I want to make in a day and a half ish. And I know that's going to need auth stuff. So, we're going to work on auth so that way we can carry those skills over to that one. Because with this one, my plan was that I really wanted people to get an educational experience with sharks. Also, Blahaj Gang, plug that. But the secret of this project is that I wanted to mess with my uncle who hates sharks a really long time ago. So I made a shark tracker. And now we're coming back to it, and now we're making it Bumble for sharks. Because that's a lot more fun and it's a fresh idea. And I thought it'd be cute. So like I said, we are doing auth stuff. This gist is that we have a lot of information from our search. We have the weight, length, age, like ratings, voting, last seen. But what I want to add in is a way to track like how many people are tracking this shark who have joined their shiver, the group of people who might be interested in a shark, or because it was in their area, they might have been like, hey, I want to like tag the sharks I've seen. Of course, in the settings, they might be able to change like their search radius and whatnot, much like you would any one of those apps. I don't know how to generally refer to them. I know they're dating apps, but I don't know anything about them. So, but we're not trying to date tricks. We're trying to have fun and see what we can find. Yeah. So we're skipping those last 2. I'll try not to do too much CSS today, just because that's a really good time sink, and I would really rather get auth working, and then potentially getting a database set up with this Flask server that we're working on, so that way we can start saving the extra pieces of information that's not found in the JSON data that we pulled back on Tuesday. So prettiness aside, we don't also need this either. I'm going to go ahead and minimize those. Now, I have never imported an auth library before. We left off last night like looking into it and being like, what libraries are out there. We pulled up Google Auth. We pulled up Auth0, which is a really which is often found in MLH hackathons. If they are sponsoring your hackathon, you are challenged to have best use of Auth0. And some of the best use cases I've found have been people who want to save data based on their user profile, which I think is the use case we're going to go to. But there's also things like just having some way of like security for your application. We also saw that there's some Python authentication, Pi multi-auth. I learned about the difference between OAuth versus Auth0. And my understanding is now that so you have GitHub, which implements Git. So you have Auth0, which implements OAuth. That is about my understanding. It will change over the course of this session. But yeah, I have no context. So obviously I can read that at a different time. We're going to go ahead and use Auth0 just because their docs are up. And given that so many hackers use it, why not do it on stream to, see what it's like? And also because I would love to be able to help hackers in the future using Auth0. Let me also add to stream because I'm realizing I didn't even add it to stream. Whoops, it's been a day. Friendly reminder to hydrate, and if you're slouching, to sit up. Chances are you're probably doing that. Right, so we will want... We're going to want the either common API. We don't want native or mobile management. Auth0. These are a lot of different things you can do with Auth0. I didn't know that. I guess we want to go to the GitHub because there's no link here. So GitHub for Python. I'm not doing that. Backend service. Quick start. Quick start. Is there a sample app? Is it going to download anything? No. Okay, great. And then regular applications, Git, sample, quick start. I'm opening these tabs because I don't know what I'm looking at. Okay. Although if anyone has any advice, you are welcome to let me know, because I'm super into finding out what y'all's preferences are. Get token, authenticated user. Oh, this tells us, is this all the same GitHub page? Oh, it is. Derp, 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 derp. Cool. Let's go back. Okay. So usage, authentication. If you need to sign up a user using their email and password, we do. That would be good. If you're not authenticate a user, you can use get token. Oh, sorry. And then management SDK, instantiate an auth0 with a domain. I don't think we want to do the management SDK. I think we just want to do a couple things. Authentication endpoints, database, delegated enterprise, API authorization, passwordless. Might be useful. Social users. Okay, so it seems like we probably want the authentication SDK. Looks like from auth import stuff. Authenticated user, get token. Cool. Recommend you log in and follow this quick start. We're gonna skim it. Oh, am I gonna need to set stuff up too then? I guess so. Create a Flask application. Here we go. They have from that, do that, app domain. Cool, cool, cool. Let me also make sure that that switches over. You know what? When in doubt, class tutorial. When in doubt, just Google tutorial. Add login to your Python Flask app. Done. Cool. So it looks like we need to add some dependencies. Let's go ahead and go to this. Let's go ahead and stop our server. We need to pip install some stuff. Whoops. Python.env. Let's see if it'll work. Yay! It's got Conda set up. So also, yeah, we used a Conda environment, so that way we could get all the libraries set up pretty easy. Well, I guess you can do requirements. That's cool. Yeah, we're gonna also need that .env file. Oh, so Python has its own .env file. So my familiarity is with like Node.js kind of stuff. So knowing that we have that now, neat. Okay. Oh my gosh, I should not be this tired. .env. Go ahead and paste that. We're gonna need that, and then setting up. And login route. Ooh, yeah, let's go ahead and also add that into our stuff. We can also close that and that. And let's go ahead and add a quick route for login. So this has been a very intense learning run for me because I'm learning a lot. I've never used auth0. I've never used Flask. I use Python to do scripting stuff. So admittedly, it is quite slow. This is very much a learn on the fly, and yeah. Login. We don't have a login HTML page yet. Do we actually need that though? Let's see. They have app route login, given a login, callbacks, logouts. Looks like you don't actually need that, which is pretty good to know. Oh, we do need to load our file. That is important. Let's go ahead and copy over some of the setup. Put that before. And it looks like we also need a couple libraries. So let's filter through what libraries we're going to need. We already have JSON. We know we're going to need to have env. URL parse. I don't think we're going to need that. We have that .env. I don't actually think we'll need that then. We'll skip that for now. And if we find that we need it, well, I guess we'll come back. Session, render template. We're not, oh, I guess you do need session though if you're going to be doing login stuff. So let's go ahead and add those in too. We'll add in what they're using, even though we don't quite know which ones we're going to use for sure. And let's delete that one. All right. Endfile.endflask. We're going to need our key for sure. Let's put that where they've put it, just in case the order of things getting called is important. Oh, okay. Now I see where env is being used. Env was being used to get the things. Okay. Let's see. Oops, I didn't want to go that far. So we are going to need this. I don't know particularly why, but we'll find out. Let's just copy this whole auth register, delete the login because I misunderstood what they wanted, and paste that. Okay. We have register, class 0, blah, 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 blah. We have the login, which is the callbacks and the get methods, and then we have log outs. And then let's also go ahead and skim now. So they have whatever's being called in the home, checkpoint. They're using 3000. But let's see. Let's make sure we understand what's going on. Okay. So we have Flask as our library, has a bunch of redirects and sessions. We have JSON, we have env, we have the auth integrations for OAuth, we have .env in order to load our keys, which we haven't gotten yet. So we have the loading of the actual environment files. Load. We have the Flask app name. We have this secret key. Okay. OAuth, which calls the app itself. So it looks like we're wrapping it into that. Then we have register, and it looks like we're creating an auth 0 client ID, get secret, open ID profile email. Then we have getting the domain. All right. So that makes sense so far. But here's my question. What if we don't have an API key yet? Callback URL, logout URLs, requirements, login to configure this snippet with your account. Okay, since I'm going to have to create a login really quick, let's go do that. I'm off screen because I don't need y'all seeing my passwords. I need to sign up though. Sign up with Google. I wonder if they use their own product to authorize things. It would be smart. It would be both smart of them, but also problematic of them. I can see it in both ways. I'm creating it on behalf of myself. We've signed your data region. Give me. I am assuming I don't need to change anything. Let's see. The only reason I'm not showing you all this is I just don't know what information is going to pop up on screen, and I really don't feel like doxing myself today. I've done plenty of those mistakes. It is thinking slowly but surely. In the meantime, let's see. Oh, great. I'm a new auth 0 user, and I would like to learn and do things. That's a 5-minute intro. Yeah, no. I can delete this later. Not sure. I'm using a Flask app. Default, Google. Enable them to use that. Great. Try to log in. Continue with Google. I have no idea what I'm actually looking at. Ooh! If I can see this page, it means my connection works. This is the user profile the application will receive. Cool, so it works. But what did that do? I don't understand. I am not ready to use auth 0. No, wait. That's not helpful. What? APIs. Auth 0 being not straightforward is not super helpful right now. Settings, API ID, name, identifier, tokens, skipping user consent. That doesn't seem right. Quick start. Ready to be consumed without food. All right, let's go open the code back up and see where we can dump some environment information in, because I think I'm missing the understanding of something. In our end file, we have client ID, we have client secret, client domain, and the secret key. So I have the API ID, which might be the client ID, but I don't have anything else. How do I... Default app, single page. Great, but connections? I don't know what I'm looking at. Oh, I found it. I had to go to settings. Okay, great. Let me go paste these in. Domain. I don't believe it needs to remain in the brackets. Copy the secret. You know, for having a quick startup, they really do. Just you need to have some extra knowledge or extra like patience to know what you're looking at. And to be honest, I have no idea what I'm looking at. Don't I need a secret key? Where's my secret key? Where is the secret key I'm supposed to have? I have domain. Got the client ID, got the client secret, got the domain. Where's my app secret key? Alrighty. To Google. Whoops. Credential secret, manage application settings. Great. Remove. Great. That was useless. auth configuration. Okay. I have signing algorithm, scope, created the application, configuring the access. So they have not helpful information. Love it. Sure. Private key. What's that got? Integrate. Private key is not available. You should use public key. You can view your signing certificates by following these steps. The private key is the client's secret. Yeah, we have that, but I don't know what I'm looking at. You know what? We're going to save it. Do they environment get app secret key? They don't. Anybody in chat have ideas they want to toss at me? Maybe help me understand what it is I'm missing. What is app secret key? Flask. Used to sign session cookies. Do we need one? And Flask. Okay, so other people are asking this question, clearly. Anything that requires in case that anything is a session object. Nobody has comments in chat. Cool, we're all learning today. Okay. It looks like I can set it directly based on the Stack Overflow. Encryption relies on secrets. Never included with the client tamper. Oh. I should just create one? This is a very long answer. Oh my gosh. Alrighty. To create a signed cookie. Poor man's signature. just create a key. Prevent, adjust it, send to cookie. All right. We're gonna fumble with it and put a secret word. Okay. Now we can close that. Nobody needs to see what all the secrets are. I'm gonna go ahead and run it anyway, and then let me go pull up that page. I don't expect anything to really be working, so we'll see what ends up happening when I refresh. And the answer is nothing is broken. On the other hand, we can't actually see a login page, but we can use the routes, so let's use the route. Something went wrong. Cool. We'll go to the application settings page, ensuring you're calling a valid callback from your stuff. Love it. I thought I was. Apparently I am not. Oh boy. Oh. I'm apparently experimenting with things that are not on the free plan. Let me very quickly make sure that I copied things over correctly. Did I forget to use quotation marks? Yes. Was it necessary? I thought not, but we'll try it anyway. Ooh. Maybe the key is cut off. No, it was right. All right, let's run it again. And also find the page I had for the login. One, two, seven. Switch to this tab. Alrighty. Didn't realize I had two windows open. Login. Nope. Provided redirect URI is not allowed in the list of callbacks. Clearly I did something wrong again. Still no ideas in chat. Google again. What was the error I got? Callback URL mismatch. Let me go also pull up domain. I think technically it should work. And I gave it a bogus secret key. So let's go ahead and read what we were doing. So we registered, we passed in stuff. Where is the callback URL? So we have redirect, this stuff, URL and code. These are all loaded in. Where was that guide it said? Oh, to run the sample sets, go to applications, set the allowed callback. Back to applications. Settings. Settings. Allowed callback URLs. The guide says localhost 3000, which we didn't do. Whoopsie-daisy. Let's also add in what we're using, which is 5000. Specifically, must be a valid URI. Not? Oh, you're only allowed one. Okay, what else needs to be done? Allow web origins. All right. It's because I goofed. And then logout URL should also be the same. All right. Do I get to save? Changes may take up to 30 seconds. Okay, well, chat, we have 30 seconds. Which API provider am I using? I'm using auth0 because I've never used it before. This is all locally hosted, so we are not deploying yet. The reality is, I don't think we're going to get to deployment today. I'll probably be trying that on my own before the travel dashboard, where we will not have these issues. So thank you for your troubles and for sticking with me, because I'm dying a slow death here. Well, to be fair, that is the nature of learning on stream. Like, nothing's gonna go perfect. In fact, absolutely nothing has gone right so far. And I'm okay with that, mostly because, like, again, I'm here learning with you all. But it does suck because it is impatient. I get impatient waiting for things to work. Okay, it's been about a minute. Let's see if it will let me log in now. Yep. Let's do a quick fix of not doing what I did. I don't know that end files need quotation marks. I feel like they do, but maybe they also don't. And it's fine if they don't. So let's restart the server. Restart. Login. Callback URL mismatch though. 0. Callback URL mismatch. Localhost. They have all that. Make sure you have the exact callback. So it should be 5000 API auth callback. This is their secret, their base. They have the domain. They have client stuff. Yada, yada, yada. Roles. And you need to add it here. So I'm assuming I need to add that to the wrist then? For what you want, secret key. How to implement API keys. So when I logged into auth0, it gave me a tutorial and it automatically created something. So I'm actually using that, which technically worked, at least in logging in my email, but it didn't quite do anything else. All right, but I'll go to it anyway. I can't copy paste, which sucks. API keys using auth0 /6. Oops. 6296. Non-interactive. Give out the client as app ID. Client. Ungodly confusing process to create a management token. Indeed. All right. What was I doing? Oh, I was editing the API auth callback. I don't don't think this is going to be right, but we'll try it. All right. Save changes. So we'll give it another 30 seconds, it says. In the meantime, 0. Let's see what tutorials they have. Maybe they have something else. Consider a callback, blah, 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 blah. That's fine, but we're testing stuff. Right, well. Let us try again. Is the server running? That's a pretty good question. Let's restart it for giggles. Refresh this. Log in. No. What's the callback supposed to be? Seriously. I think in auth we have to make our own. Okay. Back to the tutorial then we do. Testing applications locally. Oh. Go to this and click the applications. So I have it as my local host currently, but it's not working. Add the URL, but it says here to click the application. So let me go make sure that window. Let's go see. So we have, what was it? Back to applications. Auth dashboard applications. And then I click the application. Okay, I click application. Is that? We're going to copy that really quick and just see where that takes us. Error trying to fetch applications. Love that. Click the application. Click application. Y'all, this should not be this hard. But to be fair, never worked with it. Just a new quick start. Ask. Great. They don't have what I need. Fine. Fine. We'll create a brand new one. Ah, jeez. 0. How to create new task. Which is what we were doing earlier, I think. Ready. Do they have anything else? Let me also curiously just log in really quick. See if they'll auto-populate useful stuff for me. Do we have any sessions for Android here in MLH? That's a good question. But unfortunately, you're not going to find them for me. I don't do Android dev. But you can't, what's it called? Not you can't. The sessions are actually created by MLHers who want to give a session on specific topics. So if you could like maybe post in Global Hack Week channels being like, hey, is there a plan to do mobile development week or something like that? There is actually the next Global Hack Week, which is game development, and there's always mobile games. So I wouldn't be surprised if there are some MLHers who decide that they want to make an Android mobile game. But you could also just kind of see in chat, like, is there a chance of somebody doing that? Or maybe MLHers that do mobile development, you could ask them if they have plans to maybe do, what's it called? Mobile development. Admittedly, I am not a mobile developer. Not at all. The 4-step guide. We did that, and that's where I got, and it wasn't helpful. Quick starts. Log in. Wow, this website is not, I'm not happy with this. Create a new application. Will you auto-populate stuff? Okay. I'm just making a brand new application because that's just easier sometimes. Where is the web page? We have our callback. Save. Great. Let's go configure things. Okay, I was right on the end file. Let's go paste that. That is presumably correct. And the only reason I'm not showing you is just because keys. Keys are very important to not be publicly made available. Okay. I don't think anything should have changed. But just in case in the code, let's go ahead and close that. We'll copy it and paste it again. Again. Okay, paste. Save. We're going to stop the server and run it again for giggles. And we're going to go ahead and run without debugging. Gonna open that. And log in. Something's not right. Verify any errors in verified domain, verified tenant configuration. It gets it, and I made a 302. It really, really. What's going on? Are we really going to spend? You know what? You know what? We're going to take a 5-minute break. And I'm going to go Google more things in the 5-minute break. Be back soon. Okay. Break was good. Break was helpful. I needed to read the code. I did not read the code. Okay. So guess what? It works now. So let's just redirect this now. But I take a screenshot of it working. Actually, we can just leave that up now. I take a screenshot of it working, which is voila, it's asking to authorize us. Finally. Which I did accept. And at that point, it has access to my email and some other stuff. But finally. So what happened? The answers I didn't read. So this is why you never just copy paste without reading any of it. The one piece of information that I didn't look at was that one set of lines where specifically it said the redirect URI and its callback. So if we go ahead and pull up the tutorial, that's what we were supposed to do. You know, so here's the thing. This kind of annoys me. Their preview just says the localhost at 3000, which is what they're using. They should have mentioned to put callback because they're like, oh, if you're following along with our sample project, set it to /callback. But then everything else is the same too, which that's so frustrating that they wouldn't. Okay, all right, complaints aside, it works now. Cool. Now what do we do with it? So we have a login now. What do we do with it? How do we save? I had a Flash tutorial up for this SQLite server, an SQLite database. We can now go close all these tabs. The most satisfying part of this whole thing, closing a million tabs. That was useless the other day. Well, it was useful, but now it's no longer useful. We don't need Sigwin. Sigwin, go away. All right, and then while we're at it, let's go save our butts and push to GitHub. Zero integration plus CSS quality. And then let me also go pull the GitHub for people, just in case they want to fork it and go off and do their own thing. Named it Shark Tracker 2. That's not the thing I'm looking for, is it? Nope. Oh, I did name it Shiver. Why? Oh, it's because the folder. That's confusing. Cool. And then let me paste the check-in link again if you joined in or checked in at least briefly. Cool. Oh yeah, I was pulling the check-in link. My bad. Oh, I should cancel creating a new thing too. So weird because it's sorry, still a little bit salty about that that guide. It'd be like that. I mean, if you don't know what to look for, you don't know what to look for, and it's rough. Alrighty. I've cleared out most of our windows, so now we can actually do stuff, which is I wanted the database part of this tutorial. And they use SQLite. So we're going to pull all that stuff in as well. Which I think we're going to need to also go download SQLite into this as well. Normally I wouldn't actually use it, but given it's a localhost project, why not? SQLite 3. And we're going to need to import that. Let's just dump that in there. We're going to need this. Let's put that in between that environment. Let's put that there. And then they have an app route. So we specifically aren't going to be adding this route stuff yet. But what I do want is actually wait. Let's just go double check. Auth0 database. Specifically, database connections, what they use, good to know. I want to, okay, I'm back on track. I am now remembering what I wanted to do. So the reason I'm asking, or I'm integrating this SQLite database, I want to save small bits of information, namely being how many users are going to be tracking a shark. So we'll need to be able to update that database with, okay, we have a shark, which means we have the slug name, which that was part of the JSON data that we, oh, couldn't find SQLite. What happened there? Did I spell it wrong? I just weird. I'll come back to that SQLite issue. But right. So in interacting with this, we'll have users log in with their email or whatever preferred thing. Then we have information that we can now link to that user. So in that database, we might store things like the user and what groups they're connected to, which will only be available once they've logged in. We might also consider within a Shark instance, how many users are tracking them, because we want to have the data go both ways. So we'll have two tables probably just off the bat. I'm not really good at visualizing tables just in my head, so we're going to really quickly just go draw up a couple tables. So we have a shark, which will have information like the slug name. And we're going to have information like how many people. So we'll have followers. And that will be a, let's call it a uint8 for now, because data types are good. Slug name is string. And then we might also have a rating. Maybe they want to rate their sharks, because we do have that information from the OSearch, but that will definitely be uint8. But that hasn't really seemed to be updated, at least in the first 4 sharks that we pulled. And then for users, we're probably going to have information from auth0 about them. So let's call it their profile ID for now. I don't quite know what that type will be yet, but we can name it a string for now. We will also have sharks following. So that could be another table. We can table that for now. Table. Bad joke. What else will we have about the user? Actually, yes, we should have a Shark user table, which tracks how they've been interacting with it. So we'll have a Shark user table that's connected to. And so that Shark user table will exist for each Shark that they follow. Nope, that's not working the way I wanted. I was supposed to grab the check-in link, which I didn't keep. There it is. Check-in link. And we can update our stuff now. Yay! This one got moved down. This one got moved down to Thursday. Yay, we did that. That was shorter than I thought it would be, to be honest. And now we're working on the shark data bit. I guarantee we're not going to get to that point, but that's okay. So we know we want sharks. They're going to link to, that could be an array of, or a many connection to many tables. So this would be a one-to-many relationship. Yeah, my brain is tired. I don't want to do database schemas today. Database schemas are kind of like design where you need to spend a lot more time than just 2 seconds at a thought. But we can definitely make the Shark database at least, and plug in some numbers arbitrarily to get it to display. So let's go ahead and finish setting up that database and then inserting in information about those sharks. So we have sharks. We're keeping local instance of. What values are we going to have? We're going to have the slug. And then we're going to have followers. And we're going to have rating. And that should be good. So we need to add in 3 spots. We have 3 of those. And this is for setup. So we'll do test sharks. Test shark 2. Test shark 1. And since it's numbers, we're going to say it has 384 and it's got a rating of 4.56, apparently. And we're going to give this one a different number. It's going to be super duper popular, and except also going to have a terrible rating because I said so. Cool. And then going back to that tutorial just to see what they've got going on. I see. They have a schema that they've created. We're calling this sharks. Sharks, we do want IDs to be that. That's fine. We're also going to change this to slug, text not null. And we are going to remove that and say, what was the name of it? Followers and rating. Followers. This is integer. The reminder emails didn't get adjusted for daylight saving. Fun fact, where I live, there is no daylight savings. It's great for reminders. Yeah, it makes meeting planning suck. But if you're just joining, you missed the first hour of Struggle Bus again. I feel bad for the people who had to witness all of that, all because I needed a 5-minute break, and then magically it fixed everything. Yay! You can hear my cat scratching on her stuff, her window bed. Maybe. My mic actually might be removing it. Okay, so we have that. Database. Do we need anything else? No. InitDB, we did that. Okay. For giggles, we're going to just copy this for rendering. Even though we're not using posts. New file. Sharks internal data render test. This is so long, we don't need that. Render test. .html. Paste. We don't need the header. For shark and sharks, we want. Oh, if we have the slug, we may as well save the name as is. Ish. Oh yeah. No, I want name. Name is just easier for right now. We can adjust it later. Just because they have IDs. So I can't do that. Shark name. Shark name. Well, I mean, I can. I just don't feel comfortable when things start highlighting like that. Shark name. And then for the database design, is that like brick schema? No experience. Oh my gosh, we get to actually do some fun stuff. Thank you for asking questions. I'm happy to explain that one because I actually know that one. So when you're doing database design, if I'm not sure where brick design comes from, but it's more like you want to see like this is please ignore the fact that it's the NSA. I just happen to get some paper and I collect stationery regardless of where it comes from. Anyway, so when you're thinking about databases, you want to think about the relationship of the data to other pieces of it. So right off the bat, I had said something like, hey, we have sharks. We already have information about their slug name, their location, there's like attributes like the weight and length and everything. But what we don't have is what potentially is going to be generated by people interacting with our website. So we're building on that data. Obviously, we can't just ping the API and say, hey, update it with our information. Life doesn't work that way, and that's not what that API is for. So what we're doing is going to be creating a database that will use both the API call to the sharks and the data that we're generating. And so that database will be storing it. So now we need to figure out, well, first, how do we connect API to our personal database generation? And the reality is the sharks are going to have to match their slug names, presuming that the slug name is the ID. And by ID, I mean a completely unique way to identify these things. So that's why I said, okay, let's name the table shark. And so there are plenty of ways that you can design a schema. I can just go and go to images. And so you can see, I guess this might be what you mean by bricks. It does look like a bunch of stacked bricks. But this tells you how things are connected. So let me go ahead and open image, new tab. Ooh, wonderful. It's X. It's so big. Okay. So from this one, it's not about sharks, but we can actually like kind of adjust our understanding based on this. So it looks like from a good database design means you can look at it and understand what's going on. So we see that we have orders, these purple instances, the ones at the top, that's the table label. So we have orders, orders items, customers, and items. Sometimes the naming scheme is that you'll see like the main table that it's coming from and then the child table. The child table will have that parent table as part of its name, which is kind of what we're seeing in the orders and then orders items. But we're not seeing that in customers because customers is its own whole like independent thing that is not under the orders umbrella. So another part of it is that you need to have some unique ID. So we have order ID, customer ID, item ID, etc. And that's really important because now you know, okay, if I'm working with the orders table, I'm always going to have an order ID. And while you could just name it ID, I'm going to take a bit from programming and say, hey, have unique variable names that make sense. You could name all of the ID like columns, so to speak, if you want to look at it from that perspective. You can name them all ID, but when you're coming to create relationships between the two, how do you know how ID relates to ID when it's customer ID that you're referring to relating to, say, order ID? Not that that's connected right now, but it's really important that you're clear about how you label things. But as we can see, all these IDs are going to be integers, and generally that's the only way you can create a unique one. You start at 0 or 1 or however the database starts, and then you have things like auto increment. And so as you add new pieces, it will always create a new entry and therefore auto increase the number in that database, which is kind of what I was setting up when I was copy pasting some stuff over and adjusting. That part I actually understand, which let me go pull it up and tell you what it looks like. So in the schema, you're creating the table. So this text is equivalent to, if we were to change it into like orders, it would be create table orders. You have the ID. So in this instance, this is not well described. It should actually be like shark's ID. So it can be a string, by the way. Brick schema, I think, has this structure too, where it has hierarchy-based data. Okay, now I'm going to Google that. Brick schema. Brick schema database. Open. I'm just going to emails or images. Brick classes. I have never seen. Okay, for background, I'm a software engineer and my degree was UML diagrams. This is a joke. I have never seen brick diagrams. What is this? This looks like hardware or. Oh, I see. Oh, I probably would never. We call this like a network diagram almost. Well, not quite a network diagram. It might also be called like a system diagram. Fascinating. I will investigate this later. Oh, you're a mechanical engineer. That makes sense. Because even engineers use, or like just general engineers use different diagrams than software engineers. That makes sense. Okay, let me finish explaining this to you so that way, like, you now have a new diagram that you can use. Because honestly, like, having more ways to categorize data means you're more likely to be able to solve problems creatively. Also, friendly reminder: hydrate and sit up straight. Okay, so in this case, order date, you have a type of date, customer ID, integer. So customer ID, as you notice in orders, there's order ID and now there's customer ID. Customer ID has a link to the customer's table. And so now you start having foreign keys. That's what this is called. You have a primary key, the order ID, which is related to the orders table, and you have customer ID, which is now going to be a foreign key link to the customer's table. So there's different types that you can give all these little pieces of information. Really important that you do, so you're not just taking up unnecessary space in your database, saying like, oh, I have a string, or like text. Some databases are very particular about what types you use, and there's a way that you can optimize the space that you take up regards to type, particularly if you know that it's always going to be the same size. So for customer phone, it's always going to be 12 characters. Versus an email, you have no idea how long an email could be. And if you potentially put a restriction, that can be pretty dangerous, because what if someone has like 100-character email and you only put people are only going to do 50 characters? Because users will never follow what you want to do. Okay, explanation aside, database schemas are super helpful in understanding the relationship of data to what you're working with. Generally, tables will hold like data. And so like data needs to connect to not like data somehow, right? So this is SQL, SQL, SQLite, Postgres. These are all going to be considered very organized and structured databases. Then you have NoSQL, which means if you don't have a consistent shape of your data, or you're not always going to get customer ID, customer name, customer email, you're going to get something like a whole document or a picture or like, I don't know, random stuff or nothing, which you can do null with normal SQLs. Then you might start looking into NoSQL databases, which means they don't have a strict structure. We are not doing that. As much as I would love to go use MongoDB and set all that up, it doesn't make sense for this project, because we're not using data that's not going to change form at some point. It's always going to be consistent, because it's always going to be a number of followers for a shark. It's always going to have a name, and it's always going to have like a rating, for example. So that is why I started with, well, we know at least the shark table. I'm not building out the users table, partially because we don't have time, partially because it involves more thought process than I can offer during this session right now, because I didn't plan too far ahead. Again, I had homework. But yeah, so if we were to visualize this, we could pretty much just draw like that purple header would be sharks. And then we wouldn't have all this extra junk on the end, but we would know that, it would be shark ID, and then integer. And so as you can see, it's the primary key and it's auto incrementing in this instance, whereas we might intuitively understand that from the database schema if we were to draw one. Yes, it will store our data. We are creating the customized buckets, or the custom shaped bucket that will store the very specific data that we're looking for. And that's what this is doing. So here we're just saying, okay, initialize the data, start it, the database, and then go dump in some base values. So when the database is first created, we are going to save some default data in before we actually use the real life data. Mostly, again, because I don't want to get blocked IP address wise from the API that we're referencing for the shark stuff. But I also want to make sure that we can render what we want to see instead of repeatedly pinging the API being like, okay, refresh, okay, made a change, refresh, which would be super rough. Hence render test. So what we're doing is we're going to eventually call that database once it's initialized and created, and we're going to say, hey, go ping it for information that we want, which might be, we want the name. We want the, what's it called? What I name it? The number of followers and the rating that the shark has. So in that instance, we're setting that up to reference it here So instead of, this is old code that we aren't using. And actually, I don't want to use a span for this. I don't know why this is here either. Oh, yeah, they knew that's problematic, whatever. So we're gonna just do some paragraphs because that's the easiest way. And we're gonna copy this injection here, and this is from Jinja more so. Oops, duplicate that. Duplicate, paste. And what we want is followers and rating. So followers and rating. Cool. So we have that, and then I want to make sure we have everything that we wanted to. Go back to this. And then we're going to go to, let's make this a new route that we can just fiddle with. So that way we get our data. DB test. And this is going to be a render test. And then let's make sure that's, oh, we also want the database call. So in this instance, we don't need that one yet. Oh, I guess we will. So this one, they have this in app. Up here. Oh wait, did I copy that? I did copy it. Derp. Derp, derp, derp. Dev post. So specifically, they did this. We're gonna take pieces of it. So we want get post. Okay. So we want get shark. We're gonna have an ID that we can pass in at a later point. So we're gonna need Sharky. And this is where slug name or in our case, that test value we wanted. So this is where it's calling that database. We'll be calling get shark. We're saying connect to the database, and then we're going to say select from our table sharks where ID is equal to what we're passing in that case, shark ID. Make sure yeah, it is supposed to have a comma. Cool. And then it'll fetch only one piece of information. No. I love questions because that makes me look like less of a fool. Right now, I'm also teaching myself this whole thing. I know how to do all these things independently. I've never actually jammed everything together or used existing libraries, so that's what we're doing. So as for your question, so the HTML, talking hard. The HTML file is a form of markup language. And so it's what renders your page. It's what gives you the content. The CSS is going to be what makes it look pretty, which right now it does not look pretty, but that's okay. The Python is the functionality. You're right, absolutely. Where it's the it's hosting the backend, it's serving the files, it's also hosting the database, and then it's going to be calling the database. So it's the way to interact with it. And then the SQL database is going to be what stores the data. But we will have external data coming from an API call. Right now we have it on a local file, which is in sharkdata.json. But eventually we'll be removing that because we just wanted data to play with that we could just call repeatedly until we're ready to actually have this work. It's actually coming from an API request that we pulled from another website where we looked through their network tab to see what URLs are you calling to get your data. And in that case, we found the API that they called, which has all of their shark information. And that's what led to some of the pieces of the puzzle, I guess. But yeah, so here's the database part that it gets. I guess we do need that. I don't want it. If shark. You're very welcome. I'm glad I was able to explain that because I promise I do know what I'm doing. I just also don't know what I'm doing. I know the concepts of what I'm doing. I don't know the implementation yet, which is why we're here. I probably will, though, wrap up this stream in about 15 minutes just because of how slow this is moving. And just because it's been a rough day. But I appreciate those who have been hanging out just having this probably in the background or been trying to understand the insanity that is me trying to figure out how to use auth 0 and other things. I appreciate the patience. I promise travel dash. Okay, no, I don't promise. Promise is dangerous. No, I've set expectations now. Dashboard will go as dashboard will go, but we have some precursor stuff, and now I can actually like throw some stuff together, and we'll actually hit the ground running. I hope. So we're changing shark ID, and then render test, and sharks equals shark. So we basically duplicated this. We're going to remove this part here. It's our database test. Let me make sure that I actually ported everything over to the shark stuff that we did. Shark ID, shark DB connection, select from sharks, close connection, abort. We didn't import the library that they used for that. If shark is none, print no sharks. And then we don't need to touch the auth 0 stuff. Callback, get post, don't need to touch that. That was our test. You'll notice there's a lot of test stuff just because, again, I am learning on the fly. Right, and so we have shark ID. We're going to actually name this TS1. So we have something we can easily type and not get some issues with it. And then get DB connection. Connect database, DB. What else do you do with SQLite? Just to make sure that we've caught everything in implementing the library. Use the open to the schema, execute. Do I need to run this though? Oh, yes, I do. See, this is why I was checking, because I'm like, if we have a init, we don't want to call it all the time, but we do want to run it. And it doesn't like stuff. That's right, because I forgot to update the question marks. That should be better. Okay, so now we should have a database file that was created in database.db, which, as you can see, is going to look like garbage, which is good. That means we have stuff in it. Visual Studio is not going to render that for right now, but that's okay. Cool. So let's go ahead and run it. And let's go see that it actually updated what we wanted. So let's go ahead and refresh. Close that a bit. And then what was the route that we were using? We were using DB test. So it really shouldn't render much besides just blank text. Awesome. Missing one positional argument. What are you missing? That's because I forgot to write. What do we name it? PS1. PS1. And the requested URL is not here because I didn't do the right URL, which we can find. Did I do something? Oh, I see. We don't need that in the render test. We can remove that for loop. And then let's see if that works. No, still doesn't like it. Missing one positional in post. I don't think we need to worry about that having shark ID, shark. They do. They have get post. It's fine. And they have post. Ah, I forgot that I needed to add in slash colon. That's what I forgot. We need to actually read in that we're going to get stuff. This should be string shark ID. And I think it should be fine like that, actually, but we'll still double check. It might not be. It might just be full string. It's thinking string does not exist. That's fine. Let's put in string. And then run it again. Hey, it rendered nothing. That's okay. It at least worked. Actually, why didn't it work? Base content, base HTML. What's in base HTML? Yeah, it should have rendered stuff. What happened? So within body, we have the container. Empty. Why is it empty? That means the database is empty. No sharks here. Yep, tells us that much. What happened? The database didn't work. Because we totally ran the what's it called? We ran init.db, passed in values, and then what happened? Use render test to render shark stuff. We got that name, TS1. You know what? We're going to just do this just to make sure. And then we're going to rerun that. Refresh. Still nothing. Curious. Yep. It's because I said that first day that things went way too fast and it was way too easy. I jinxed myself. Sounds like the database isn't calling what I needed to. Let's go back to just get everything. Def get all connection equals get DB connection. I am in grad school, and this is exactly how my work goes anyway. Unfortunate. Con.execute select from sharks. Alrighty. We don't need any of these, so that should be fine, just in case. That's all. Be fine. Restart the server. Reload. I am studying engineering education. I study hackathons. I'm not studying anybody right now, like in GHW. But yeah. It is very fun. I get to meet lots of wonderful people who love hackathons and hate school, and that's exactly what I'm trying to investigate. Which is, what is school doing wrong to us? Frankly, it's a lot, but oh, I forgot to change this to get all. Get all. Shark. Okay, start that. Refresh. Still nothing. Curious. Okay. Well, we are at 32 this week's hackathon. Yeah, this week has made me realize I'm at programming too, but my excuse is I spend only 3 months of the year programming intensively, and that's usually at internships, which is why we're doing this now, because I need to be ready for my internship, and I shouldn't be this bad as a PhD student. But again, I only program intensively during summer internships, so conceptually, I understand everything. Implementation wise, again, that's why we're here. But it also gives me a chance to learn from everybody, especially if they've already experienced some of these issues. Or like if they're wanting to, figure out how someone figures out problems. That's what these workshops are. Me struggle busing, basically. But yeah, we are 3 till the 30 mark. Like I said, I was going to end this early just because we're running into so many issues. I am going to probably keep working on this and keep pushing to the GitHub. So you're welcome to, of course, check out the link, fork it, make your own, impressive project. Yes, that's the right attitude to have. It doesn't work at all. So it'd be like that. But I do appreciate everybody's time and patience with me as I also figure out this madness. But I'm not willing to give up on it. I'm gonna still keep chugging away. So like I said, check out the GitHub link, fork it, etc. And then if you haven't checked in already, I'm gonna go ahead and post that check-in link again when I find it. Just because you should absolutely get, credit for tagging along in this adventure. And of course, because of our struggle bus for the last 3 days, I'm hoping Travel Dash will actually go a lot better because now I have a lot of context that I can roll with, and I think I can actually get some like boilerplate up even. So keep an eye on my repo on my GitHub. So that way, maybe if you want to join in on that, you're welcome to. And I'll give you the spiel for the dashboard as well, and then that'll be the end. But I had some travel difficulties this past weekend where I was like, oh, let me paste the link to that too. I have it up. The travel dash is gonna be in chat. So travel dash is my attempt at taking all of my many tabs that I open when I'm trying to figure out like what I need when I'm traveling. Like the weather, information about the city, whether or not my flight is going to compensate me if I have mechanical delays or weather delays, or I'm late and miss my flight, or what have you. And so that information up front would be super nice to have. But then also, like, what if I have friends in the area? Can we pull from Auth0 or some other authentication library to get our address book? Because if we know, like, hey, so and so's in Iowa and I'm going to Iowa, maybe I want to hit them up and, go out for dinner or something. Or like maybe I want to know if the flight that I'm going to get on is historically delayed all the time. So we're pulling in all the APIs, which is why I'm going to still keep chugging away at this one on my own time because I would like to be better prepared for Travel Dash than I was for Shark Tracker. Admittedly, the Shark Tracker app was actually something completely different. It used to just send text messages through Google Scripts, which was interesting. And so there's definitely better ways to do it, which is why I wanted to like rebrand, refresh, do something different. But yeah, so it is definitely there's 30 minutes till I think the next stream. So this is now a great time to take a snack break, water break, break in general, refresh your brain drain, maybe forget how this stream went because it was not great, but that's okay. We debugged. We learned how to debug today. That's what we learned. Yeah, so feel free to check out the future streams. I'm doing my best to make sure it will go much better and much more smoothly than last time. I'm sure we'll still debug stuff, but at least it'll go a little better. Yeah. And then have a good rest of your week if I don't see you at the next stream or if you end up not being able to make it. But yeah, have a good evening.